Hello, I'm going to read two stories again today. One is just for fun. It tells about wind and the other tells about firefighters. Let's start with wind. Wind. The earth we live on is a spinning ball. When earth spins, the air around it moves too. When air moves, we call it wind. As the sun heats the air grows lighter. Light air rises. Cool air is heavy. It falls. Cool air and warm air are always trading places. We call this movement wind. Birds use wind to help them fly. Plants use wind to carry seeds. So there's the earth from space. And there's the pictures of hot air going up and cold air falling down. We use wind to fly kites, to sail boats, and to turn windmills. Wind moves clouds. Wind makes waves. It even makes trees bend. When the hot air is very light and the cold air is very heavy, wind can blow up a storm. Sometimes wind spins like a puppy, chasing its tail. A small spin makes a dust devil or a waterspout. A strong wind makes a tornado or a hurricane. Wind can be scary, or it can sing a gentle song. Wind is all around us, but we cannot see it. We can only see what wind does. So here, and you can see the storm on one of them, and the windmill underneath the kite, and the sailboat, and the tree bending over. We see that sometimes around here. And then there's a picture of a hurricane and a tornado. And that little tiny tornado, they call a dust devil. It's got a special name because it's not really a tornado, it's just some wind. Okay, our second story is about firefighters. And the question that goes with this is, why should we be responsible for doing a good job? Firefighters have to do a good job. You guys are trying to do a good job at home while you're doing school from home. There are some words you need to know. Station, that's a place where people go to work, like a police station or a fire station. Quickly, fast. Building, we know what that is. We have a school building that we usually go to. Tightly, when you have something and it's tight and you're holding it so that it can't get away. Burning, when you have fire, you have flames, you have things burning. Masks, I had an example of one. Firefighters have to use these. A lot of people are using these. This one was made by Mrs. Smith for me so that I could go out and go shopping when I needed to. And roar, roar. It's what a lion does, but it also is the sound that a fire makes. It can be very, very loud. So let's keep thinking about, why should we be responsible for doing a good job while I'm reading this story? Firefighter. And this is a very cool picture of a fire truck and a fire that is roaring through a building. It is busy at the fire station, even when there is no fire. Liz is checking the hoses. She wants to make sure they screw tightly to the truck. Dan is polishing the fire truck wheels. Anthony is upstairs in the kitchen looking for a snack. He's always hungry. He suddenly hears a loud noise and it makes him jump. Ring, ring, ring. It is the fire alarm at the fire station. Anthony slides down the pole. Thud! He lands hard, but the thick rubber pad on the ground cushions his feet. So when you hear a fire alarm at a fire station, it doesn't mean evacuate the building like it does at school. It means it's time to go help people. So here you have the things they're doing when they're waiting for the fire alarm. And there he is on the fire pole. Liz jumps into her boots and pulls up her fireproof pants. She checks the computer. It shows the fire is at 7 Oak Lane. In the truck, Liz grabs the walkie-talkie. Chief Miller, we're on our way. Right, says the fire chief. He has gone ahead in a special fast car. The fire chief usually comes in a car. He doesn't go in the fire truck with the other firefighters. I'll meet you there. Liz starts the engine as the firefighters jump in. She flips on the sirens and lights and drives out of the fire station, or firehouse is another name. The truck speeds towards the fire. Cars and buses stop and wait when they hear the siren coming. That's what you're supposed to do, is pull over to the side and let them go by. The fire chief calls Liz. I'm at the fire scene. It's an old house that has been empty for years, but someone saw a young boy playing on the porch this morning. He might be inside the house. Tell Dan and Anthony to get their air tanks ready. When you go into a fire, you have to have oxygen on your back, because otherwise you won't be able to breathe, because the smoke from the fire is not air that we can breathe. Okay, Chief, says Liz. I can see the smoke from here. We'll be there in 2 minutes. So here she is talking to them. There they are. She's in the truck, and the fire chief is the one with the white hat. And there's the fire truck that they're driving. Liz turns the corner into Oak Lane. Flames cover the top of the house. The fire is spreading quickly. There's no time to lose. Liz hooks a hose from the truck to the nearest fire hydrant. Those are those little red and yellow. They're not very tall, and you can hook water hoses onto them. A pump on the truck pulls fire from the hydrant to another hose. Liz and another firefighter point the hose at the flames. Ready? Calls Liz. Whoosh! Out comes the water. They hold on tight as the water shoots out. It comes out of a fire hose hard enough to knock a person down. And as you notice in this picture, there's that water, there's the fire, and there's 2 firefighters actually holding on to the hose because there's a lot of power in that water coming out of the fire hydrant. Anthony and Dan are ready to search the burning building. They have to put on their air tanks and their face masks. Each tank holds 40 minutes of air, so that it's a little more than a half an hour where they can walk around and see if they can help and find people or possibly pets that are stuck in the fire. That's not very much time. The boy's name is Luke, the chief tells them right away. Right, says Anthony, and he grabs a hose. Let's put the wet stuff on the red stuff, says Dan. Dan and Anthony run to the back of the house. The fire is not as bad here. Dan feels the back door. If it's hot, flames could leap out when they open it. It's cold, said Dan, so they step inside. Thick, black smoke is everywhere. Anthony shines his flashlight around. Luke, Luke, he calls. No one answers. I can hear fire upstairs, says Dan. The fire has damaged the staircase. It could fall down at any time. They climb up the steps very slowly. Outside, the outriggers are set down on the ground. Outriggers are like legs to hold a fire truck stable. So here they are putting water on the flames and making a plan to go inside to make sure that there's no one in there. They're looking for a small boy. They keep the truck steady as the ladder is raised because this is a hook and ladder truck. The ladder goes up like a telescope to the top of the house. A hose runs up the side. The firefighter on the ladder shoots water down on the fire. The flames crackle and hiss. They get smaller. Then suddenly they jump even higher. Inside the house, the fire rages. It's hot enough to melt glass. Anthony sprays water on the flames. Fire has made the house weak. It's made out of wood, and wood burns pretty easily. Oh, it could come down any second, says Dan. We must find Luke. Boom! A beam crashes down near them, but their helmets protect their heads. Crash! Quick, says Anthony. We're running out of time. They come to another door, but it will not open. Dan swings his axe at the door once, twice, 3 times. It's jammed, shouts Dan. The roar of the fire is so loud they can hardly hear. We'll have to use the electric saw. So he tried this axe at the bottom, and here they are searching, and their mask is a lot more elaborate than the mask I have. That means it's fancier. It has a special oxygen part, and those helmets are to help them stay safe because stuff falls down when you're in burning buildings. Anthony swishes on the saw. It cuts a hole in the door big enough to climb through. Luke, calls Dan. Luke! But the room is empty. Suddenly the chief calls, get out now, the roof is coming down. Dan and Anthony race downstairs. They get out just as the roof falls in. We didn't find Luke, yells Dan. He's okay, says the chief. We just found him up the block, kind of around the corner. Whew, says Dan. That's good news. Hours later, the flames are out. Anthony sprays water on the part still glowing red. If it's glowing red, it can start up again. He is tired and dirty, and very hungry. Liz winds the hoses back onto the truck. Finally, she rests. She's tired too. Back at the station, Anthony sits down to eat. At last, he says. Suddenly, a loud noise makes him jump. Dinner will have to wait, says Stan. Ring, ring, ring. The fire alarm is going off again. It's time for them to go to another fire. And what you need to do if there's a fire, this is a way to remember it. Edith. Edith is like a name. Exit drills in the home. Do you know what to do if a fire starts in your home? Don't wait until this happens. Sit down with your family right now. Talk about how would you get out of the house. Plan 2 ways to get out of every room because one might be blocked by the fire. And decide where you will all meet once you get outside. So what can happen is somebody might think, well, I'm supposed to go over there, just like that little boy. They thought he was in the house, but he was down the block, down the street. So it's important that you kind of talk about where should we go? To the big tree outside, down the driveway, to the road. Where will we go if we have a fire in the house and we have to get out of the closest place to where we are? Because you can't always get down the stairs. You can't always get out the closest door. If you do a fire drill and kind of practice that, it might save your life and save your parents and your siblings as well as your grandparents. There they are. And in this case, everybody was safe. The building burned down, but everybody was safe. So again, why is it important to be responsible when you have a job? If a firefighter does their job and they're responsible, it saves people. It saves people's lives, not just that they might get hurt, but it also can help the community because the building might be saved. And it's always better to save it than to watch it burn down. I hope you like this story. This is a non-fiction story, meaning it is true. There are things happening like this every day. I hope you have a nice day. Bye.